Hi guys, Squad here, and welcome to another Train Simulator World 4 video. In this one, we're going to take a look at the DB-BR218 Diesel Loco add-on. This was developed by TSG and published by Dovetail Games. Now, the DB Class 218 was a class of 4-axle diesel hydraulic locomotives. This particular one was the fourth and final main variant of the V160 locomotive family and was considered to be the pinnacle of the 1960s diesel hydraulic technology. It can provide tractive power as well as electrical train heating when required via an attached generator. The almost 400 produced, the 218 has a top speed of about 140 kilometers per hour or 87 miles per hour in old school, and top speed and the ability to work in multiple units for a more demanding operations, which is exactly what you see here. In this DLC, the 218 runs the TB11 engine variant. This was an upgrade on the TB10. The TB11 is a 12-cylinder V-type turbocharged diesel engine and produces around 2,500 horsepower or 1,840 kilowatts. Now, despite their age, the BR218 is in regular use throughout Germany to this day, usually on this sort of where there's lines where there's no overhead wires. Now, in Train Sim World 4, this loco comes with 4 scenarios and a timetable layer for the Hauptstrecke Hamburg to Lübeck route DLC, and as well you get a bonus timetable that features a 218 on the Mantelbahn route DLC if you happen to have either of those. There are tutorials in the training center and you can explore Germany with the train in free roam. My plan for today is to run through one of those scenarios where we get to rescue a stranded regional train which is blocking a platform at Bargteheide. Now, we need to move it to Rothenburgsort Depot. Excuse my German, by the way, for German. We need to move it to Rothenburgsort Depot using a double header 218 unit, which is what we've got right in front of us. And just for the giggles, I thought I'd turn on the CIFA and PZB safety systems, which I'm sure will not give me any grief at all. Let's get started. Okay, here we are in the scenario. It says an RE train has been stranded at Bergteheide. As it blocks the platform, we need to get out of there. You are called to take the double formation 218 to bring the broken train to Rothenburgsort Depot. Right, we need to get the train ready. So what we need to do is put the reverser handle in and push that into neutral. We'll turn the brake key to off. The parking brake or handbrake should already be off. So we'll put it into forward position. Having done that, we'll need to set up some lights. Change left arrow to look at the camera on the desk. Yeah. So it's going to take me through what I already know, which is basically... So these 3 lights here are the ones that feature on the front of the locomotive there, the top, middle, and left. Literally those 3 lights. Then we need to turn on the instrument lights, and then we need to put on the transmission power to on, like so. We can then come back here. What I'm going to do is turn on CIFA by pressing Shift-Enter. I'm going to turn on PZB by pressing Control-Enter, and you should see that PZB will start to initialize itself. Set the train brake to running, which we can do like this. Now, there is a dynamic brake, and there is obviously the main train brake. When you operate the main train brake, it will operate the dynamic brake automatically, but you can operate this independently. Obviously, there's also a direct brake if you want to use that when, you just without any consist on the back. Other than that, I think we're pretty much ready. We've got sand here, wipers are there. The wipers are quite interesting. Sort of a pneumatic one, you can make them go quite quickly. The difficulty with them is trying to get them to stop in the... Oh, wow, did it first time? Normally they stop in the middle of the window and it's really annoying. The windows do slide. Interestingly, this window over here, when you click on it, it's quite cool actually. The driver can basically stand over here, or the second driver can stand over here and operate all the shunting controls, including PZB acknowledgements and stuff, which is quite a neat little design. And also this chair does flip up if you want to get out that way. The MU selection is normally on KWS, and there's not much else going on in that panel. That is a very quick overview of the 218. The main cylinder pressure is up here. Sorry, how should I put this? The braking cylinder pressure is here, and the main reservoir is up there, just so that you know what's going on. Okay, right, we have a 30k limit. So the way you operate this is you put it into throttle position 2 using the wheel. You see that light come on there. When it's lit up, it means it's trying to bring transmission oil into the transmission, and you have to let that light go out before you then progress by putting more power in. The same goes the other way. When you come back down, you have to stop at 2 before. So if I bring it back to 2, then it drains the fluid, and then you can drop it down to 0. That's kind of how it works. PZB is initializing here. We will have to do CFA acknowledgements now and again, and you can see top right says save to release restricted. That's the PZB acknowledgement. That will probably bite me in the bum during this whole thing. We shall see how it goes. PZB is a fickle system, particularly on this locomotive. It is a bit old school like that, and at the end of the day, it will just stop the train dead, and I'll have to reset it if it happens. CFA will just put the brakes on. PZB is a bit more aggressive. It'll kind of make you put it into brake neutral, reset it. It's a faff. All the while, the horn is going off just to annoy you. So I'll try not to do that. We'll try not to break any speed limits. But I must be on it with the acknowledgements. Without going into the details of PZB, there's a 1000 hertz and a 500 hertz magnet on the track, and yeah, we definitely need to acknowledge them when we go over them. What I'll try and do is when we get near a signal, I'll CFA and PZB acknowledge, even if I don't have to. That's a CFA, but I'm just going to hit PZB anyway. 25Ks, 40K limit, green aspect. There's 1000 acknowledged. I must acknowledge that one. It says slow down to 85, okay? Which is interesting because the track speed limit coming up is 60, so quite why it wants us to go down to 85. PZB can catch you out like that. I'm going to put the throttle back up to 2, wait for the light to go back off. Like that, and then we'll bring in a little bit of power. Not that there's a particular rush with this thing other than there is a locomotive that's stranded. But we're not running a set timetable. We're not a freight service either, so we are kind of special, I guess. We're almost like the rescue services, aren't we? Like the RAC or the AA or whatever you've got over in the States and Europe. Let's drop it back down. I should have gone through 2. You can damage the transmission doing that, but I don't know if that's modelled in this. So you see there, it says we're on the 1000 hertz system at the moment. We're within speed limit, but the speed limit is going up to 60. Let's have a quick look. We'll do a CFA and then press T. We've got to go via the Hamburg Railstedt platform, then Berg to Hyde, then we've got to pick a cup up to 7 vehicles, and it looks like we're probably changing ends at that point. Getting into the other cabs, so it will tell us what to do mostly. It never does everything. And also it looks like we're going downhill, so I'm going to acknowledge that PZB, do a CFA check, and I am going to bring in, if I have to, a bit of dynamic brake, because I noticed we're going downhill and we're picking up speed, but then the speed limit changed, so we might be okay. I'm just going to kill the throttle to 0 and let it cruise down here. In terms of like the locomotive itself, it's pretty well modelled. The engine sounds are decent, I'd say. The parking brake sound, if I remember at the end of the video, I'll show you. I'm just going to put some dynamic brake in. You'll hear it fire up. It's gone level again, we'll turn it off. There's one thing I don't want, it's runaway speed when I've got PZB turned on. Yeah, the handbrake when you operate it seems to be like a looping WAV file. It's like somebody recorded. Save to release. Does that mean we have to release? No. Acknowledge. Okay. I'm not like super hot on PZB. I just know roughly how to get around it. Yeah, it's like a looping WAV file, so you get this weird sound that's obviously been captured, and then as you just hold down the handbrake, it just keeps repeating the WAV file. It just sounds a bit unnatural. But, you know, apart from that, the sounds are pretty decent. The visuals are good, particularly when you throttle up. You'll hear us throttle up, hopefully shortly. We can get to... Let's CFA. There we go. Got 15 stages of throttle. Usually you see oh, there you go, diesel spurting out the top. Let's go full beans. So the engine audio is quite loud, but obviously with the double header and nothing to pull, we are pretty quick right now. Which means I'm going to throttle back. Because I am frightened of killing the PZB. Okay, so uphill incline 0.5%. Normally that means you need a little bit of throttle just to maintain speed. You just have to gauge it. 60, that's the sign number. The actual speeds are at the top of the signals. But it is up on the top right as well. Yeah, the engine audio is good. The train is mostly good. There are some things that are not implemented. I noticed various buttons that you can't press. And the engine start-stop is interesting. You can start the engine, but it seems to be a little bit vague about it. You just hold it in start position and it'll start. But I've not worked out how to turn the engine off yet. Like if you put it into off, it doesn't turn off. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to work or whether I have to press something else. I didn't read the manual, so I don't know. Alright, let's acknowledge that. Let's get some more speed going on a flat. Yeah, but I mean, it's a nice sound, isn't it? It's like a nice, you can tell it's a turbo diesel, like you really can. But boy, does it run away with speed if you're not careful. And also, if you listen, the engine does take time to, like, throttle down. It's not a case of take the throttle off and it slows down, like, there is a delay. So you do have to be careful in that regard. Okay, I need to work out where we're going. Crikey, we're not going to see it from here, are we? I'd have to look at the main map screen to see where we're going. Hamburg, Railstedt, Platform 1, go via. What we could do is, if you'll excuse me for jumping into the map here, it will give us an overview here. So we're here, there's Hamburg, Railstedt, and there's Bargteheide, that's where we're going. And then we've got to bring it back to Rothenburg Depot, which I presume is this here. So we should be going that way, hooking up to it and pulling it back that way, is what I think the plan is. But I've never done this scenario before, so I've no idea. Which is what makes it exciting, because you're seeing it at the first time that I am too. Let's have a look at some scenery. Pretty decent on this add-on. Excuse me. Pretty cool. Nice and detailed. They have got better at drawing these catenary lines as well, I've noticed. They don't seem so aliased anymore. There is a... I was having a look through the timetable things for this thing, and there is one. It's only like a 20-minute run, but you're dragging a load of cars, like motor cars. And honestly, the length of it is insane. It's so long. I haven't done that scenario, but I was like, whoa, that's a lot of cars. But you know, this thing's got a lot of power, so... Let's get the throttle into 11, I think. I think we are currently outside of PZB control now, like there's nothing showing here. It's just CIFA we need to worry about. CIFA's like the dead man switch, if you don't know, or DSD as we call it in the UK. It's that button there, and it's... As far as I understand it, the button... You can actually hold the button down if you want to, but you have to release it like every 30 to 60 seconds or something weird like that. Otherwise it considers... Because I think the way it works is, like, if you had the proverbial driver have a heart attack and lean on that button, yeah, he would just sit on the button, whereas in theory he should be able to let go of it every 30 seconds if he's not dead. Let's put it that way. So that's how that system works. The PZB is a lot more complicated, and it involves these magnets on the track, and just pass one then. sending signals to the train about what the speed limit ahead is and that kind of thing. I don't know why it switches from 1,000 to 500 megahertz. I've no idea why it does that. Or 1,000, is it hertz or megahertz? Hertz. 1,000 hertz to 500 hertz. I don't know why it has two frequencies. Perhaps one of you guys could explain. Bit of graffiti. I do honestly wonder, genuine question, right? These people that spray graffiti on these walls here, when do they do it? Like, they can't be doing it in the daytime because all the trains are coming down here and the drivers would see them, right? So they must be doing it, like, at night, overnight. And then at that point, you can't see what they're doing. So do they just kind of jump over the wall with a load of torches and set up and start spraying the wall? That's the only thing I can think of. Because this stuff just appears, doesn't it? And you see it on bridges and you think, how on earth did they manage to get up there? I digress. I like to digress, in case you haven't noticed. Right, it doesn't actually tell me how far we've got to go, so I've no idea right now. I just know it's down here somewhere. But we'll plod on. I'm not sure what station this is. Let's have a quick look. Hamburg. Oh, there we go. Hamburg Railstadt. So that was the one that we had to go via. Now it says stop at location as indicated. 14 kilometers down the road, down the track, so that's not too far. Now, whether that means we're going to be stopping where the train is that we have to pick up, or whether that means... There you go, there it is. Is that the actual station, or is that just a place we have to stop and prepare? We shall see. Let's see how we get on. Have you noticed there's like little passing loops here? There was one back there that we just passed. At least it's either a passing loop or a branch off to somewhere else. My guess is it's a little passing siding, like the freight trains to pull over. Okay, good speed. So I'm holding steady. Throttle 11, you can see the marker down there. So we're on throttle 11 on 0.2% gradient. And that's fairly steady for this. Obviously, if we were hauling something, it'd be a different story. But yeah, 13 kilometers to go. Okay, we are approaching our destination. Less than 2 kilometers to go. I'm going to start backing off, bring it down to throttle 2, and then wait for the engine to wind down, and then the transmission light should come on, and then we should be able to bring it down to 0. I can see a red aspect already. So I'm just going to kill the throttle now, the lights come back on. Start getting some braking going here. Right, PZB acknowledge. It's going to be pretty hot on this now, the PZB, because it is a red light coming up. That's counting down. Okay, we got it under control. 500 meters. So far, so good. There's the red ahead. Hoping there'll be like a stop marker or something. I'm not really sure why we're stopping here, to be honest. Like, maybe we need to get access into the station or something, or we have to cross over the track to the one that it's on. Not sure. Let's put the marker on so I can see where we're meant to be stopping. Stay below 65, 50, 500 hertz. So I think maybe the frequency just has a lower speed limit or something. I'm not entirely sure. It's a different frequency on the magnet. You can see on the dash down there it's gone red for 500. I'm just going to let it cruise in. Make sure we do not go past that red light. Otherwise, it will not be happy. That's the Seafer kicking off just when I'm looking at the countryside, as it does. Okay, so basically, we'll turn that off. It's basically right before the light. Hopefully it's not too picky. I don't know why they put that mark so close to the red light. Like, just put it here. Just literally just put their markers back here so you can safely stop and still see the light properly. It's just stupid putting it there. Turn on safety system. I've got safe. What are you talking about? Safe is turned on. Okay, I'm hoping that's enough. Put the brake on. Is that enough? Let me just double check safe is definitely. Yeah, it was on. Okay, so that's not enough. This is the level of silliness that we are now under. Okay, is that enough? That's enough. Wait for 1 minute. Okay. Sometime later. There we go. Objective complete. We need to contact the dispatch to get permission to enter the track. Please stop a few meters in front of the broken train. Contact signaler. Proceed at restricted speed. Okay, what is the restricted speed? Doesn't really tell us what the restricted speed is. It does say up there on the 500 hertz, stay below 24, so that's a fairly safe bet. I think probably 20 or under might be a good idea. If we go over 24, the PZB is definitely going to come down on us quite swiftly, I think. It's actually quite tricky to keep this slow for the simple reason, like, you have to kind of go in and out of throttle too. So you're either going to be catching up speed that you don't want, like this, or you sort of back off. And then it doesn't, you know, it starts to slow down because we're on an incline, so it's actually quite tricky, this. I'm going to put the marker... I don't like having the marker on, but I feel like I have to have the marker on so there's an exact blue circle to stop on. Actually annoying. I wonder if I can keep it in just throttle 1 position and get enough juice, but not pick up speed, if that makes sense. Try that. Yeah, that seems to work okay. Interestingly, we went back to 1000 hertz instead of 500. I'm not really sure why that happened. We could possibly go quicker, but I'm just not going to risk it. Because honestly, resetting after PZB is just... it's too painful to be bothered with. We're only 500 meters. We can suck it up. There it is. There's the train. So yeah, I'm guessing we just basically go and hook up and then, you know, change the end of this train and then haul it back. Get back on the other line, I guess. Can't quite see how big that train is. It looks like one of the electric ones. Let's go back into throttle 1. We're losing too much speed on this incline. Now we will have to hook this up. We can do that via the camera usually. Wow, that truck on the left, on the road, why is it going so slow? That white one literally just spawned in, did you see that? Literally spawned in front of us. Okay, I feel like this is getting a bit too quick, considering how close we are. Take a little bit off this. A little bit of speed off. Okay, this is still too quick to connect, but we're doing 7Ks. If we go on this camera here, in theory, when it connects, we should be able to click on it and couple up. Or maybe not. Wait for 1 minute. We're not coupled up yet, buddy. Okay, can we connect that? There we go, manually coupled. Yeah, you could hear all the heating came on in this thing then when that happened, when we hooked up. Right, now I'm fairly sure it's going to ask us to turn all kinds of lights off and stuff, but I'm not going to jump up ahead. So stop at location, couple to formation. I think I have actually jumped ahead. I think it should have stopped. And then it was going to tell me to hook up, but yeah. I'm just hoping it's not broke the script. Couple to formation. Now couple to the car cab and change ends. Okay, it's recognised that, that's fine. Good. I was a little bit worried then because I'd gone ahead of it. And when you go ahead of things like that, it can often go bad. So let's bring the reverser to off. Set the train brake to off. Which is that position there. Set the brake key to off. Set the transmission power to off. Now the transmission power is this one. I'm hoping it's going to ask us to turn the lights off as well. Game. Transmission power off. There we go. Remove the reverse handle. Yeah, so it's not going to ask me to do this. So I'm going to turn these lights off because they're completely unnecessary, but it never asks you to turn them off. And then we'll grab the reverser. Like that. And then set the signal's light to, It's going to get me to do this. 1 second. It is going to ask me to do the lights. Second segment's light to off, did it say? Set the top light to off. Yeah, I dragged it all the way down, and that's not actually the off position. Bizarrely enough. The off position is somewhere in between. Sit in the driver's seat of the second loco. Okay, right, so we should be able to duck out this way. It's such a small door. Oh, this is a squeeze. Close that, lift up that seat, come into here, lift down that seat, sit down here, and put the reverse handle in, so just the opposite now. Set it into forward, set the brake key on, and then put the lights back to on, Sigma's light to white, that to white, that to white, that to on, transmission will probably go on next. So the train brakes are running. Just before we do that, I'm going to turn C for on and PZB on. Now it's turned. It's turned on in the other loco. I wonder if I need to turn it off in there, otherwise is it going to cause problems? Because the game doesn't know. Well, the scenario doesn't know that I've got it turned on. So let me just go and sit in this cab a second. See what happens. So I'll turn it off and off. There we go. So it's now off in this cab, so that... I don't know if it would cause problems, but... belts and braces. Let's minimise the chance of it causing problems. Okay, seat back down. Alright. So what are we doing next? We're set to train base running, and we're going to go to Hamburg, stop at location track 3 at Wandsbeck. Okay, train brake release. We do have a red aspect ahead. We are moving. Looks like that train's getting to stop as well. I wonder if we're going to get right away. That's interesting. I wonder if I should try contacting the dispatcher just to see what he says. Let's see what happens. No, okay. We don't have any priority. I mean, a running passenger service should definitely have priority, right? Yeah, there's the magnets there. You see them? When we run over that, it will require us, there you go, to acknowledge that. Yeah, I guess we just got to wait here then. Probably waiting for that guy to go, and then we'll have to wait for him to clear down the track, and then we'll get to jump over onto his track, is how I see this going. Okay, that's significantly heavier on the braking now. There's a lot more weight behind us. I had to adjust them because I'm used to the train being quite responsive, and then suddenly it was like, slow down. Let me jump forward to where we should be, which is here. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Alright. I guess we just wait it out now until we're allowed to move. Well, guys, I have sat here for some time, and I think the scenario is stuck. This train that went through here, these signals originally went green, and then they went to red when it went through, and they've never gone back to green. Meanwhile, the one I'm on is red, and it won't change. Like, I can't get onto that block. I think what should be happening is it should be changing to red, and then I can basically get onto this track. And you can see further down here, this is all green. You see that? So all that track down that way is green. This guy can't move. Well, he's a freight train, right? So on a freight train, in theory, he should be able to move if he's going straight through. But I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to come into the track that we're in. I think he's trying to pull over into this side track so that the faster passenger stuff can go straight through. And so he wants to come here, and I'm trying to get out of there, and the game won't let me leave. This shouldn't really be red. I don't know why it's red, but it won't change back to green. And when I contact the signaller, it just says denied. And I've been sat here for over 15 minutes. And if you actually look on the track map, you know, you can see I want to come out of here and cross over. He's sat there. And then further down the track, everything's now just gridlocked. So at the next station, you've basically got this train and probably this train that want to go through, but they can't because of the freight train. This guy isn't moving either. I don't know why. But the bottom line is that the entire scenario is stuck, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. Whether it's just bad timing when I got here, or whether the scenario is genuinely bugged out for everybody, I don't know. But as it stands, unfortunately, I can't finish this scenario, and I can't. Yeah, I won't be able to get the points for delivering it. I do apologise about that, you know, but this has happened more than once. I did a scenario just the other day on stream, and it was broken. It's frustrating, but that's just the way it is. Anyway, the DBBR 218 is a good loco. If you drive it, it's a lot of fun. Timetables and stuff. I guess this particular scenario you should probably stay clear of because it appears to be bugged for me. Or maybe I was just unlucky. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about that, guys. I do apologise. I hope you enjoyed the journey as it was so far, and you appreciate my frustration with this, because I wish I could just go into the console or something and just say unlock signal, just let me go, because if I drive through this, I get signal passed at danger and the scenario ends. And I did do that just to test it, and here I am, back here, unable to fix it. Please let me know in the comments if there's any other locomotives or scenarios you do want me to try. Hopefully that aren't bugged. And I do hope you enjoyed my run through this locomotive, even though we couldn't get through a past scenario. Take care, guys. Happy training.